All right, Andrew, I want to just get right into it as it relates to the Carson Wentz stuff, because a lot happened last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, over the weekend, and then we can even get into the Nick Foles part of it after that. But I guess I just want to get your observation as a guy that lives in Philadelphia of everything that went down with Carson Wentz and his injury and how it was presented to the media and the fans last week.
Yeah, good day, Ross. And I think to preface it, it almost seems like all is forgiven, of course, because they won. Now, they won without Carson Wentz. The injury is the injury. It stays what it is. But to the rescue, of course, Nick Foles. And it's a deja vu, at least for 1 week from last year, with an scintillating game against the Rams, a game that no one expected anyone to win. So even these pugnacious Philly fans are a little bit forgiving of Doug Peterson and everything that went on with Carson Wentz. Now, to that, I think this is a tough look for the franchise because what's happened is they've lost some goodwill on the injury explanation front. This is a team that has seen Darren Sproles out for most of the year, back for practice, out again for several weeks. It's a team that saw Jay Ajayi get hurt, come back with no apparent injury, then placed on IR after that game. It's a team that has seen Chris Maragos, a special teamer, injury last year, nowhere near playing again this year. So what's happening? And then the big one, Carson Wentz, back soreness, back tightness, back injury, fractured back, stiff back, tender back, strained back, and all of a sudden, he can't play. So here's the thing. They went through a change in medical staff. They went through a change in trainers. There's a lot of obfuscation. Doug Peterson's not equipped, I think, to handle these questions. So I'm looking at it, and I say they've got to change the structure here. Either have the trainer or doctors answer the questions, or have Jeff Lurie or Howie Roseman answer the questions, because it's causing strife with Doug Peterson and the media. He's trying so hard to be protective of information, which I get, but it's becoming a weekly drama. How much can he hide, and how much can the media get out of this where there doesn't seem to be answers? So, long-winded way of saying it's not a good look for the team, but it's being helped by its play on the field.
Yeah, that's interesting way to look at it. I mean, there were even reports, Andrew, that some person said that some of the players believed that they had hid the information from Carson Wentz. I got to tell you, I believe, Andrew, that some players believe that, but I don't believe for a second that the team would do that.
No, I don't either. I mean, again, listen, this has been going on for a while with Carson Wentz, and it was all about the knee. And you heard before the season he's angling to play. He really wants to play. He should be there first week, and then he missed the first 2 weeks. And then we heard maybe he should have stayed out even longer, but he was itchy so much, and they deferred to him, and they couldn't hold him back more than the first 2 weeks of the season, which, by the way, Foles did not play well. So now it comes up with the back. And listen, they put your guy on injured reserve last week, the big rugby player, with, quote, soreness in the back. Meanwhile, they're saying Carson Wentz, who plays quarterback, might actually play last weekend, which was folly, of course. But I just think we're going to have to learn about this. And then, of course, people are asking me, as you may be planning to right now, what about his future? What about his contractual future? These are all things that have to be answered. And I go to where I always go with this, Ross, is there's got to be a lot of communication, and I think there is, between Ryan and Bruce Tolner, Wentz's agents, and Howie Roseman, and the medical staff, like what's going on. And I know that the NBC broadcast, Carson wouldn't answer the question about seeing a back specialist in L.A. while he was out there, which tells me he saw a back specialist in L.A. while he was out there. So something's going on.
How do you balance, Andrew, the competitive advantage of the information versus the privacy for the player's health versus sort of the right to know for your paying customers?
This is the biggest question, I think, in sports going forward, Ross. You hit it right on the head, because we as a society and an open internet, we want answers, and we usually can get them. And media covering a team, and you've got a two-way street, and that's how the team gets covered. On the other hand, you're talking about very sensitive private information. And don't even get me started on HIPAA laws. I'm not that kind of lawyer, but I know how sensitive it is.